Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. The best marriage advice to a Filipina I ever received. It's always best before any major decision to get good advice. A pair of our principal sponsors at our wedding in the Philippines have become excellent sources of help for me, although I don't contact them very often, but they are there when we need their help or their advice. I'm going to share with you what one of them told me, and it is sound advice for anyone marrying a Filipina. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for what I hope you will find is more good advice to these men. Leave a comment. Don't forget to get notifications by clicking on the notification bell, plus clicking on add, or it may not work. In the description box, I'll put a link to information about wedding customs in the Philippines, and that is where I found this description of what a principal sponsor is. The principal sponsors, I think they pronounce that Nanay and Ninong. These are women and men whom the bride and groom respect and admire. They are, as in the early days of the church, sponsors of the couple, attesting to their readiness for marriage and freedom to marry. These are often aunts and uncles or close friends of the family. In the Philippines, they are the official witnesses of the state, and they sign the marriage license. Didn't know that. Worldwide, their participation is symbolic of the wisdom and support they shall offer the new couple. The number of sponsors can vary from a single couple to many couples. The principal sponsors are part of the bridal procession. At the nuptial blessing, they may also be invited to come up with the celebrant and to extend their right hands to join in the prayer of blessing. In doing so, they are fulfilling their roles as sponsors. We had many principal sponsors at our wedding. One married couple knew my wife already, therefore they were qualified to fulfill this role in our lives. I got to talk to both of them after our wedding ceremony and the celebration had concluded. They were aware we got married, like we were both double parked, meeting online March 17th, marrying May 10th of the same year. But this couple, knew my wife pretty good. The male principal sponsor offered up two gems to me. One was to remember that for the first 2 years, we will still be in the getting to know each other's stage. The other was related to that. I need to be very patient. And this is very succinct wisdom I have seen to be exactly right. We're still going to be learning about each other for a couple years, and I need to be very patient. There was much we didn't know about each other, such as our temperaments under stress and how we managed conflict resolution, and we would need to learn to trust each other. We were from different countries and cultures. My wife was 27 years younger. She was going to be moving far away from home to live with me in America. Now married for 6 years and 9 months. Can't believe that. I certainly have learned more about her. I'm telling you, she knows me better too. And she's still with me. I wish everyone marrying a woman from the Philippines could quickly advance past the wow, this is wonderful stage of being together and somehow realize what it will be like 5 or 6 years later when you really know each other better, if you last that long. Sometimes you learn things that might have changed your mind if you had known it to begin with. However, I think you have to make it work. Even better if you know someone who will put their proverbial boot up your ass if you don't. It isn't always going to be easy, and while dating, it might feel like that. Be patient. That may be the number one piece of advice for any couple. I could not hurry my wife through the homesickness she was bound to experience, and she did. I had to allow her as much time as she needed to chat back home. I should be patient as she adjusts to being married. That's going to be new. To adjust to everything that was new to her. Probably more to her than more new things to me. I wasn't moving anywhere. I've also learned my wife needs to be patient with me too. We got married before knowing the ins and outs of each other, but I hadn't intended to know everything about her. I wanted a strong Christian woman and would take it from there. I would rely on God and advice from people I trusted. Who better to rely on for advice than principal sponsors? We are hoping to visit my wife's family in the Philippines coming up here in about 4 or 5 weeks. in March of 2022. And I am looking forward to being a principal sponsor myself for a wedding, along with my amazing Isa. I consider it an honor. Subscribe here if you haven't already. There is good advice waiting for you also when looking for love beyond the sea.